They thought they understood you. They observed from afar with curious eyes, whispering quiet assumptions. But what they never saw, what they couldn't comprehend, was what heaven always knew. You weren't just another wandering soul. You were the chosen one, clothed in storms, still glowing with light even when darkness tried to hold your hand. And the moment this person truly saw you, when they finally realized you were graced with divine favor, it shook them. Your strength humbled them. Your grace silenced them. They hadn't expected to stand in the presence of someone so sacred. Someone whose destiny wasn't loud, but deeply powerful. But now they know. Now they feel it. And they can't unsee what's been revealed. They never imagined this. In their mind, you were the one who'd break. The one who'd fold under betrayal and pain. But when God is the author of your story, assumptions crumble. They watched, speechless, as you walked through fire and came out untouched. They whispered, how did they survive? But it was never just you. It was angels, wrapped around your spirit, lifting you in silence. And when that person saw that heaven had always held you, they were undone. You were never ordinary. You were shielded. You were anointed. That truth struck them like lightning. You carried the divine. They remembered every moment they overlooked you. Judged you for being soft, for being quiet. They mistook your patience for weakness, your silence for emptiness. But they never asked how you remained calm in the chaos. They didn't know your stillness was a sanctuary, a space where God whispered, "Hold on, I'm working." And when they realized you weren't operating from fear, but from unshakable faith, it shattered their illusions. You weren't broken by the trials. You were being refined by them. Now, they watch you in awe, because the one they thought would crumble is the one chosen to rise. In the shadows, while you wept and thought no one saw, heaven was writing your name on sacred scrolls. The one who ignored your pain is now being shown visions of your soul. Not the version you tried to keep together, but your raw, divine essence. What they thought was just another broken heart turned out to be a vessel for miracles. Because when God chooses someone, He doesn't seek the world's opinion, He simply moves. And now they're seeing what heaven always knew: you are the one sent to break chains, rewrite stories, and shift generations, without raising your voice. They once laughed, not from joy, but disbelief, when you dared to dream, when you walked in hope. They thought it was fantasy. But now they're shocked as your faith begins to manifest before their eyes. The same voice they once mocked is now echoed by heaven. They see you becoming what they never thought was possible. And the most shocking part? You didn't force it. You just kept walking. Kept trusting. Kept believing. That's what stunned them. You trusted what couldn't be seen, and heaven responded. They called you naive. Now they call you divine. That's how God works, flipping stories when no one's looking. They remembered how you gave when you had nothing, how you loved even when unloved. What they saw as weakness now looks like spiritual strength. They watched you bleed quietly while healing others. And when they finally saw God's hand moving through your smile, your silence, your presence, it destroyed every lie they believed about you. You weren't weak. You were chosen to carry what few could. Now they know, and they can't unsee it. If you're still reading this, heaven is confirming something inside you. You were never ordinary. Even in silence, you've been divinely guided. If your soul is stirring, this is your confirmation. They measured you by shallow standards, compared you to others. But your timing wasn't of this world. It was written in the heavens. And now, when they see your blessings unfolding, they have no words. What they once called luck was prophecy in motion. Every delay was preservation. Every rejection was redirection. And the one who once looked down now looks up, because they see, you weren't behind. You were waiting on divine timing. They counted you out. Said you wouldn't last. But you didn't respond with pride. You responded with alignment. You stood still and let God move mountains. And now, they're stunned. Not because you made it, but because you made it without revenge. You let grace speak. And grace spoke louder than every insult. They thought your story ended long ago, but you were only on chapter 1. And now, where they predicted sorrow, God is scripting miracles. You've become the story they can't explain. They knew your past, judged it, whispered about it. But they forgot, God doesn't use the flawless. He uses the broken, the passed over, the ones no one expects. They thought your past disqualified you. But in heaven's eyes, it's what qualified you. When they saw your promotion in the Spirit, it shook them. God didn't ask their permission, He simply elevated you. And now, they're watching redemption unfold in real time. They don't know how to explain your rise. You bloom in places they thought were barren. They keep asking, how? But you know, it was never random. It was God's hand. The one that held you through sleepless nights. The one that pulled you from the edge. Now that they see what you carry, they finally admit, you were different. You were designed for a walk that confused the world but made perfect sense in heaven. Now the harvest is undeniable. And they can't deny you anymore. They used to say you were too much, too deep, too emotional. But they didn't see, you weren't too much. You were overflowing. Overflowing with God's purpose. And the very traits they criticized are now the ones that magnetize the world to you. Your sensitivity became strength. Your emotions became direction. Your truth became fire. And now the one who misunderstood you is scrambling to catch up. They expected you to disappear quietly. But you were meant to shine. They assumed your silence meant emptiness, but it held galaxies. And when God allowed your light to break through the cracks, it was undeniable. Now they're haunted by the memory of what they missed. You didn't change, you evolved. You stepped into the fullness of what heaven always saw in you. They tried to forget you, tried to move on. But your memory lives everywhere. In songs, in colors, in moments. Because you weren't just someone they knew. You were heaven's interruption. They hear your name now in rooms you haven't entered yet. Your story is traveling. Your presence is being honored. And they realize they missed something sacred. God is showcasing your story, and the world is watching. Even those who ignored your light are forced to face it. Now they dream of you, not from fantasy, but from divine remembrance. They see your glow and it humbles them. Because now, they finally see the truth. You were never a phase. You were the divine assignment they failed to honor. You were God's message in human form. And now, everything else feels pale in comparison. They try to recreate what you gave. The peace, the warmth, the presence, but it's not the same. Because what flowed from you was forged in prayer, purified in pain, and sealed by angels. You didn't survive to prove anyone wrong. You rose to prove God right. And now, the one who didn't see you clearly, they carry your memory like scripture, etched in soul. Because what they missed wasn't just a person, it was a miracle. You were the light they never expected. The one who resurrected their humanity. The one who whispered heaven into their chaos. And now, they're left in awe, standing in the afterglow of your truth. The divine revelation of who you were all along. The one.